Up first today, London firefighters. They have been without a contract for nearly 2,000 days. And it does not look like that is going to change anytime soon. The Firefighters Association in the City of London met for the 36th time yesterday, the Lamplighter Inn, for an arbitration session. The firefighters have been without a contract since their last deal expired at the end of 2010. So the meeting yesterday was one of many. The two sides will next meet in May, and they're discussing meeting dates that could stretch talks into 2017. When will there be a resolution, you ask? Well, Jason Timlick is the president of the London Professional Firefighters Association. He joins us now. Thanks for your time today.
Well, thanks for having me.
The firefighter contract saga is one that's been going on for a while now, and it seems as though it's not going to be resolved anytime soon. Just to start, I guess, with yesterday, City and the Fire Association met at the Lamplighter Inn. You're in arbitration now, but what is the status of talks, negotiations, or the contract status right now?
Well, that's just it. Yesterday was day 36 of our ongoing interest arbitration with the City of London. Our contract expired at the end of 2010. From there, we began negotiations in 2011, and then went to conciliation, mediation, and now interest arbitration. So we are 2016 and still without a contract, and we're back at it in May, and we have booked dates into January of 2017. We are currently booking more dates further into 2017 for this ongoing interest arbitration.
I did some rough math this morning, and you're almost at 2,000 days, unless maybe I missed a month or something like that, without a contract.
Yeah, I honestly stopped counting, but that would probably be close, yeah.
So, I mean, it seems, ridiculous to be 2,000 days without a contract. We can't, have some sort of a solution found up until now. What's keeping what's keeping the two sides from coming together?
Well, the big driver right now in this arbitration is the City of London is trying to break police-fire wage parity, which the London Professional Firefighters has had with the London Police for going on 17 years to the dollar, and decades-long almost true parity beyond that. We've had police-fire wage parity since 2000, and that was freely negotiated several times and has already been arbitrated for our 2004 to 2007 contract, and then freely negotiated again after that. And here we are again with the city trying to break police fire wage parity. What they're doing is a pay equity style job evaluation to say that a police officer, a first class police officer, does different work or more work than a first class firefighter. And that's just simply, we understand a police officer does, we're not disputing that a police officer does different work than a firefighter. But what is happening around the province and what you're seeing is arbitrators are upholding or awarding police fire wage parity, or it's being freely negotiated in a lot of municipalities around the province without having to go to arbitration, simply because what you're seeing is the idea that the life risk behind what a firefighter does and what a police officer does, arbitrators and, for the most part, city politicians aren't willing to differentiate between. So I break it down even further and just simply say, 3 o'clock in the morning, your house is on fire, firefighter shows up to go in, save your family, or a police officer shows up and there's an armed suspect in your house at 3 o'clock in the morning to go in and save your family. Who are you willing to pay more? And that's as basic as I can get it down to. Yes, the jobs are different, but the life risk, arbitrators and most city politicians, they're not willing to differentiate between that. So that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to maintain the nominal raises. Right now, if you want to talk about the length of this, what's even, I guess, more sad is right now the current arbitrator only has jurisdiction to award the years 2011, 12, 13, and 14. So when we finally get an award, which we anticipate will come out sometime in 2018, her award will already have been expired for over 3 years.
How is it that it would be 2018? Like, what's the process that makes it that long? That's pretty much. I'm guessing that's unless there's pigs fly tomorrow, I guess, and there's a resolution. 2018 is the earliest. What is it that would take so long for that to be the date?
Well, right now, it's, like I said, 36 days in. It's a very complicated process. There's a lot of evidence being put forward on both sides. We have numerous dates booked, and with more dates being scheduled and booked for 2017, and what our lawyers are telling us, even after we finish the last day and closing arguments in arbitration, it will take 6 to 12 months for an award to come out after that. But, as always, the London professional firefighters are willing to sit down with the City of London and have open and frank conversations about negotiating a freely negotiated deal. Our doors are always open. We're always willing to listen. We're always willing to sit down and do that. Right now, this is the binding process that, because trying to freely negotiate a contract down, this is what the law says is afforded to us, is binding arbitration, and that's where we're at, day 36. Day 37 will be May 17th.
This is tracking to be the longest period without a contract in the province, right?
Well, I'm not too sure about that, but I can tell you that if this continues to go the full boat, as far as we expect it, from what I understand from our provincial people, is it will be the longest, most expensive interest arbitration in the province of Ontario for firefighters. It's what the law affords us. It's what we're bound. We both sides agreed to binding arbitration, and right now both sides are putting on cases for the panel to decide. And I can tell you that our provincial research shows that arbitrated awards come within less than 0.5% difference from what should have been freely negotiated or freely negotiated awards around the province. The arbitrator's job is to try and award what the two parties should have been able to freely negotiate. So right now, there is hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on both sides being spent to try and get a third party to give us an award what we should have been already willing to freely negotiate. And I don't know what the city spent. I know what the association spent. But as a taxpayer in London, and all taxpayers in London should be very concerned about what the City of London is paying to fight this battle against the London professional firefighters, this has already been freely negotiated several times and already arbitrated in the last 15 years, to say that we do deserve police fire wage parity. And this is a precedent that's happening around the province in all municipalities where arbitrators are upholding or awarding police fire wage parity. This is not new. This has been going on for nearly 2 decades.
How much has the Firefighters Association spent on this whole process?
We are hundreds of thousands of dollars into this, and if it keeps going the way it's going, we'll be north of 7 figures. So I don't think I can give you to the penny, but it's very costly. And I can't tell you what the city spent. They won't tell us. They won't tell the taxpayers of London what they're spending to fight this battle. So if you've heard, what I can tell you is the cost of fire service today for that average taxpayer in the City of London is less than 80 cents a day. For the average taxpayer, that's what you pay. And what we're asking for is only nominal increases, the same increases that the London police have been able to freely negotiate. And congratulations to them. But they've been able to freely negotiate to the end of 2018, 2 contracts freely negotiated. And we can't even get one to the end of 2014. And our current one expired at the end of 2010.
Is there any frustration that it's seemingly a much shorter or painless process for the city, or I guess the police board and the police association, than it is for the city and firefighters?
I don't know about painless, but
painless compared to you guys.
Well, I can tell you that it's more painful to have to go through interest arbitration than it is to get a freely negotiated contract. And I can't speak to how the police went through their process, but they have been able to freely negotiate 2 contracts past 2010, where we're just trying to backtrack and now arbitrate for that deal. And they're already past that. They've signed a deal for to the end of 2018. And congratulations to them and to the city for being able to recognize the value of a police officer and being able to sit down at the table and freely negotiate a deal. Like I said, my door's always open. And if they want to talk to me about getting out of this process and freely negotiating a fair deal that both sides can live with and the taxpayers of London can live with, I'm ready to have that conversation.
Do you feel the public is maybe not as on side with, I guess, both emergency services in general, just with the number of names we see on sunshine lists these days? I believe fire is over 250, 251 or something like that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, the sunshine list was enacted in the mid-1990s. I believe it was 1996. If you were to take the cost of living increases from that point forward to today, that number of 100,000 would be almost $145,000. And if they were only going to report what was above $145,000, you would only have senior managers and the fire chief on that list from the fire department. But the reason it's kept at 100,000 is a political decision. That's provincial. I won't speak to that. But right now, you have that number of firefighters on that list, and for the last few years, is because the City of London has chosen a staffing model where they keep trucks in service with a massive amount of overtime. So my members, by their willingness to take that overtime, are keeping the trucks in service. So right now, I can tell you a first-class firefighter's wage, a salary, the annual salary of a first-class firefighter in the City of London is $85,503. It is not $100,000. And it's because of overtime and the staffing model that the City of London chooses to run with. And my members willing to take the overtime to keep trucks in service is why we have so many firefighters over $100,000. Right now, currently, with no overtime, you would only see officers, platoon chiefs, district chiefs, and captains, senior managers, deputy fire chiefs, and the fire chief on that list for the fire department. The reason you have firefighters on there is because you're getting called numerous times every day to come in and take overtime to keep the trucks in service because of the staffing model that the City of London has chosen to run with.
If we had a contract, would that number be lower then?
The overtime?
Yeah, or just the number, the overtime and everything that adds up? Or would they still need to change the staffing model?
No, I mean, getting a contract or not getting a contract doesn't affect overtime. You'd have to speak to the City of London and the fire chief or the mayor to understand why they run with the operation that they run with now and the staffing model they run with now. But our contract right now, as I understand it, won't change the amount of overtime our members get. Staffing is dictated by council, and how they choose to staff vehicles and operate the fire department is a political decision. I have no control over that.
Jason, thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you very much for highlighting the ongoing situation that the London Professional Firefighters is going through, so thank you very much.
That's Jason Timlick, President of the London Professional Firefighters Association.